You say you want an acquisitions manager that closes deals, follows your process, stays with your company, and helps you scale. But you don't give them the stability and you don't want to train them. And most importantly, you don't want to invest in them and you're shocked why they want to leave. Today, I'm going to show you how we built an acquisitions team that stayed with us for years, what we pay them, and the compensation structure we use to attract and, more importantly, retain the top talent. If you're new here, I'm Tiffany High. I'm the co-founder of Heels Homes and Results Driven REI alongside my wonderful husband and business partner, Josh High. And after experiencing well over 2,000 real estate transactions and coaching over 5,000 students nationwide, I can confidently say we've made every mistake there is to make. And now we help investors just like you avoid them so that you can live in what I call option freedom, the ability to do what you want, when you want, with who you want. So let's dive in. So why do people leave their job? You've got stability, right? They want certainty. Most people crave growth, okay? So growth. Most people might leave their job because they have a bad boss. Maybe they lack benefits. Maybe they need health insurance depending on their family situation, or vision, or dental. They need a clear path to how they can grow. And sometimes, guys, if you see the surveys from like Harvard Review and all that, it's not always about growing in money monetarily. It's about growing in skill sets so that they feel like they're growing as a person. And then this next one is probably one of the biggest ones of all. A lot of people, maybe you're listening to this and you were in a job where you sat next to someone that was toxic, or it was a toxic environment, or maybe your team at that company was toxic. So we call that culture. Most people will leave a company due to either a bad boss or a bad culture before anything else. Now, what attracts top talent? Not a trick question. It's the opposite of all that, right? People want some way to see that they have the ability to grow with the company. And most people have the self-limiting belief in our industry that just because they're small mom pop companies that someone can't grow in title and in pay. And that's absolutely false. And I'll walk you through that today. So let's dive into what I call the compensation funnel so that you can visually understand, because most people in our industry pay commission only to their team. Why do they do that? Because they think, oh, it's cheaper. Or maybe they think, I don't want to risk paying them any level of a base salary because what if they don't perform? Now, keep in mind, the only reason why you would say is what if they don't perform or risking money is because you don't believe in your ability to onboard and train them to set them up for success. So I would argue that if we have the right onboarding, training, and management and structure in place, then you wouldn't be worried about that. When it comes to compensation only, we want to do what's going to attract the talent to even look at the role in the first place. Because when you have a commission only job up on Indeed or whatever, you're likely not even going to get the talent to look at the job in the first place. They're not even going to make it to the interview with you. So let me go to the board and walk you through what I mean by this. All right, so let's look at what I call the compensation funnel. Now, when you put a job posting out for commission-only sales with no benefits, etc., these are the people right here, this small little sliver, that's actually going to even one, review the ad, and two, potentially even apply for it. These are people that want like what I call side gigs or side hustle, or they're just trying to fill a gap as they find something else, at least in today's environment. If you were to ask me years ago, I might have said otherwise because commission-only sales was a little bit more prevalent. Today, it's not. Why? There's lots of reasons, but let's take inflation, for example. The world's uncertain, inflation has gone through the roof, and people want to feel certain that they can pay their basic bills like rent and utilities. Then I go into the second sliver. We call this base plus commission. Now, this means that you have some type of small salary that's guaranteed month to month, and then really they're motivated by the commission layer. So how do we set that base? I have been big on recruiting people from the retail space because a lot of times they've been corporately trained, right? So they've had to follow a formal process, they've had to show up and follow procedures, etc. So they're groomed and have had some level of positive structure in their career so far. Now, the benefit is they're used to working late nights, right? Because retail's open till 10 and then gotta close the stores. And then they're also used to working weekends. And a lot of times those folks, they want some more work-life balance. So what I would do is I would go to your local, say Target, Best Buy, Amazon, and figure out what are they offering per hour for an entry-level floor salesperson. So let's just say hypothetically in your market, it's $14 an hour, 14, 15 bucks an hour. And I would match that as close as you can to the base. So that way they see it as a benefit of, oh wow, I'm gonna go make the same amount of money, but I'm gonna have a little bit more work-life balance, a little bit better hours, not slammed all the weekends, etc. The beauty about that is once you bring someone in from that environment, you train them on your process and they perform, when they get those commission checks, that's gonna be life-changing money for them, right? Because we're already matching what they were getting paid and now they're getting paid for performance. This outer part of the funnel is where the real talent comes in. And not everyone starts here, right? But what attracts that? Typically, other benefits like health insurance. And I'm not gonna get into that today, but guys, health insurance isn't near as expensive as you will think. And in the US, you only have to cover employee only by federal law if you offer it, and you have to provide 50% of that payment. I'll do another video on that and let you guys know when that comes out, but ultimately guys, the first time I offered health insurance, it was a couple $100 a person. Why wouldn't we pay a couple $100 to attract the real talent that comes in for them to make 50 to 100 grand a month, right? Makes sense. Ultimately guys, you're not paying their whole year's salary up front. You're paying the first couple months, and you're gonna know based on our sales process, we have a very clear 30, 60, 90-day expectation. We know within 30 days of someone starting in our company if they're going to perform or not, because they have a baseline that they have to hit within 30 days. And we've only had one person in 10 years not hit that. Before we keep going, I want to readdress the self-limiting belief of what if I pay them and they don't perform. The fear is valid, but you only have the fear because you don't trust your recruiting, hiring, onboarding, and training or KPI tracking process. Even maybe for yourself if you're a one-man show. So what are the things that we have to have in place before we hire someone in the first place? We need a very clear interview process. Back in the day, I was guilty of hiring anyone with a heartbeat. Now I have a 4-step interview process, and we'll go over that another day. Nobody gets away without the 4 interviews before we go to hire them. From there, let's say we decide to hire you. We have a very detailed 2-week onboarding. The first week is nothing but videos, quizzes, assessments, flashcards, etc. If that is something that you do not have, I do not recommend you ever hire a closer without it because it will not work out. Ask me how I know. I've hired enough of them. Now we need to manage them properly. We need to manage them based on an acquisition scorecard that they should be filling out every day. And if you're a one-man show, you should be filling that out every day. And if you're not, I promise you, if you're inconsistent, it's not a marketing problem. It is 100% a sales problem. Trust me, after coaching 5,000 people for 6 years in a row now, we see 95% of the time, the problem is not the lead. It's the sales process. And the data tells you where the gap is and what to fix. From there, we take that data and we say, oh, ding, ding, something's wrong. We then pull what we call call recordings, right? Because we do everything over the phone, they're recorded. And we coach people. And if you're a one-man show, you should be doing this to yourself or have a coach do it. And we should be then coaching and closing the gaps consistently. And then we have a 30, 60, 90 day, what we call setting expectations when they first start. And they have to hit these. Now, if you're not setting expectations, how do they know where to go? How to perform, what's expected of them. So if you don't understand all of those bullets, I really recommend that you don't even hire a closer yet in the first place. Let's go get our hands on the structure of all of that and then hire a closer regardless of how we're going to pay them. If you don't tie their compensation to accountability, you end up overpaying for underperformance. Your compensation plan should reward profitable behavior, not just daily activities. So if you're trying to hire better people, train them the right way, maybe it's your first hire, create accountability, and build a sales team that actually performs, join our free community. That's where we're sharing the systems, the frameworks, and the strategies that we use inside of our own business. And you can ask whatever questions you got, learn from other investors who are on, and continue the conversation. We go live every single week. Check the calendar section in the community when you jump in. So I'll put the link in there in the description, and I'll see you inside.